Got somebody else I haven't met. What's your name?
Joel.
Joel, you mind sitting up a little bit closer, and then because we're gonna do some little activities together. I'm just a guest. Cameron.
Okay.
Cameron with a K.
And Brendan.
Brendan, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it sounds like
so close to other names, but we got this.
Joel, and you totally could stay there. I coach high school or 12-year-old kids in football, and I was like, hey, come here, guys. So I just realized, oh man, we're in business city. Joel's a big boy. He can figure out where he wants to sit himself. Some of this stuff. So tell me real quick so I remember you guys. Your name again, and then something unique about you. Got it. Being recorded. There we go.
I'll go first. I'm Elizabeth Broom. And I play the cello.
Oh, nice. Very cool. How long?
8+ years.
Okay. Very cool. And where are you from?
I'm from Arkansas. I guess that's unique about me too.
Yeah, that is
not
unique.
from the entire California.
Yeah. And what brought you to Utah?
My husband. So we met while serving a service mission in Brazil, and then became good friends. Got married, so I moved out here.
Neat.
Yeah, I'm related to Heather Broom. If you.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Of course.
I married her son.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heather's a fantastic agent and a good friend. So.
I know, she's awesome.
Yeah, very neat. And you go by Elizabeth?
I do.
Okay, awesome.
I guess I'll go next. My name is Brendan Dahl,
and
I'm from Highland. I guess Cedar Hills technically, but right there on the border. And
you got a cool, unique accent.
See, that's the thing. Like, I've always like been asked, like where I'm from, but it's like nothing.
No,
it's just the way I talk.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so
it's like it's a little bit unique. I love it.
I always ask people like where do you think I'm from, so I can have a good story. But
I would have said Europe.
Europe,
yeah, somewhere.
That's funny. Yeah, no, Cedar Hills. So
very cool.
Yeah, and I did martial arts for 10 years.
Oh, nice. What kind?
Taekwondo, like kickboxing.
Okay.
So
very cool. And it was Elizabeth and
Brendan Dahl.
Dahl is your last? Okay.
Yep.
Brendan,
yeah.
Got it.
I know it's complicated. Just
ask
I do. BRENNO. I use other names at directors and stuff.
Fair enough.
I know. I don't think it's that hard, but I understand.
Cool. And tell me your name again.
Joel.
Joel, that's right.
Joel Buckner is my name.
And his previous broker's name was Joel.
Oh,
his name.
I haven't met very many other Joels, so I guess that's kind of unique about me.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know. I guess I'm just from American Fork. I'm still living over there. I guess unique about me. My brother's in a band and I run sound for them.
No sometimes. Kidding.
So
that's cool. And how long have they been doing that? Smaller local gig or bigger band?
Local.
Cool.
But they're trying to go bigger.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Very cool. And what got you into real estate?
I'm kind of just like my dad's been a real estate agent for a long time, so I've been around it like my whole life. And I didn't want to work just like a regular hourly job.
Oh man, amen to that.
So
good for you.
And I like helping people and thought I could maybe be good at it. So
guarantee you can be good at it. That's cool. And your dad, is he somebody that's been around still or still doing real estate? I might know.
Yeah, I think he's here. His name's John Buckner, okay. But
oh yeah. I know John. Yeah, very cool. And John is like, hasn't he produced some big shows and things, or no? Is that?
Yeah, if you know the Love Loud Festival with Economic Dragons. So
yeah,
he did the first one. Like he
cool.
Set all that up, and then he's building like a venue down in Vineyard.
Nice. So some of his family are my neighbors, the Monsons. I don't know if you know Tyson and Candace Monson, those guys that are. Yeah. So we live right across the street from them. Yeah, very cool. All right. Cool. So normally when we do this, we're on lesson 3, which is not the one I studied a lot to prepare. You guys have some stuff that you were supposed to do, right, from the last one. Did everybody go to lesson 2? No?
I did not.
Okay,
Yeah, this is my first
so we won't worry about going over some of the other stuff. Is this your first one too?
No, but I don't think these go in order.
Right. Well, I studied lesson 1 because I saw it was the first one on this thing session of Ignite, and I looked back, it was like lesson 3, and I was like, oh, okay. So we're covering connect with your market. Do you guys have materials for that, or do you have a book? Do you have a book? You don't have a book
I
either?
don't have it
Let me
printed,
see if
but
I can
pull it up like.
Well, let me see if I can get you guys one really quick, because it'll be important to have. You'll write notes and ahas and all that kind of stuff.
Did you graduate from UNP?
Yeah,
When did you graduate?
2019.
Okay.
So not
You're a
forever,
couple
but-
years.
I'm just gonna grab you one. That'll be
Yeah.
easier. It'll look something like that, and then you can,
Thank you. Yeah.
you guys will be able to follow along and be a little bit easier. I'm gonna just double check and see if these slides correlate with what's in my book.
Did you say 2019?
Mhm.
You're so young.
I know. Me too. So
You're 22?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that.
I guess
No,
I
no.
just graduated.
Yes, they do. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my birthday's September.
Can I
so-
get rid of this window?
Yeah. So.
I'm a young baby, so I graduated.
Let's see if we can make it
Okay.
smaller.
No.
Oh, no. Sorry, I'm just gonna see if I can get rid of this so it's not.
She only graduated and like did real estate. Like right off.
Yeah. I mean, I just started like going to like architecture school. And then I like took one class and we were like drawing
Okay,
bricks
there we go.
on paper, like brick patterns. And I was like, this is so not what I want to do. So I switched and that was
So there's a whole bunch of stuff to cover in here. I'm gonna read some of it. Some of it we'll just talk about and give examples and ask some of your experiences. And you've been in real estate a couple of years, so that's awesome. We'll get some experience and stuff from you too. But we're going over, as you can see on the screen up there, we're gonna go over this today just to connect with your market. And we'll go over some of the different factors, research, and all that stuff to consider to make you the real estate expert of choice. It says to ask for your birthdays. We're not going to do that. So this is for a bigger group. It's asking for who's got birthdays in these months, and then you raise your hand and we call on you for a question. But keep in mind that today it's not about perfection and real estate in general. It's just about progress and understanding more and getting to know more about real estate. So the more you participate, obviously, the more you learn. So I encourage you guys to participate. Do you guys have an accountability partner yet? Have you worked with anybody? Like if there's a lesson to do outside or homework, do you had an accountability partner or somebody to work with on the script? Okay, awesome. Okay, that helps.
Yeah.
And your first time too?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and you're not your first time, right?
No, but I'm on the pro team, so I guess Riley's kind of.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he'll be an accountability partner for you. So I'd suggest maybe you guys exchange information if you like, and then you can check with each other about stuff. You can have Heather help you.
You're so welcome. And this one needs a copy of this book. So we ordered them. They're on back order.
Okay.
I have.
You have one? Perfect.
So
So you have
there it
one.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, I have
And then
this
I'll forget more.
as an audiobook.
Great, yeah.
Lovely, now I have
Perfect. Now you have a
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you guys want to open up, we're in lesson 3. In your little binders there, that'll be, and I love that you brought a journal to write some stuff in.
This is like my holy grail.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay, so for today, we're going to go over your market, to build expertise in the market, utilize resources, and recap. Let's see, click on that. And then we'll do some recaps with ahas, and then we'll talk about some of your daily success habits. And we can even analyze the current market, and we'll talk about even using some of the KW technology to go over and understand some of that stuff. So let's get started. Somebody read that quote for me. And how do I get that off of the big screen?
I think it's this one.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, got it, right. Okay. There it goes. Awesome. Somebody read it for me.
Yeah, no, it's all about research and preparation.
Cool. And it's from the MRE. And that's one of, gosh, one of the quotes you'll find in there, one of the many that you'll know. Let's see. And actually, right. Oh, it's behind one. Sorry, really quick. How do I get back? I'm just moving this and this is sliding, so I went too far. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to work this thing. Might have to ask. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's why it wasn't making sense. There we go. Holy cow. I was looking thinking, wait, that is not the quote. Okay. Here we go. There's the quote. Holy cow.
Here's the fit. It's been done in another market, can be done in the market. Once it's been done another where, it's just a matter of finding out that can be possible in your world.
Yeah, awesome. And it says this will help us understand how to apply the right systems and models in your market to achieve success from those agents that have already done it before you, right? If somebody's already done it, we've just got to figure out how to do it in your life and your market. It's something that's already been done. So have you guys ever heard the story of the first guy to break the 4-minute mile? I can't remember who it was, but the first guy. Do you know that story? What was it?
Very familiar. I forget exactly, but yes, rings a bell.
Yeah, so nobody had broken the 4-minute mile. It was humanly impossible. And then some guy beat it, and he didn't just beat it by a second. He beat it by several seconds, or he barely beat it. And then once people realized it was possible, all these people started breaking the 4-minute mile. People that had never done it had been racing for years. They just had this mental block that they could do less than a 4-minute mile. So once they realized that something was achievable, and in real estate, similar thing. Once you realize that there are tons of agents making over $100,000, even some making over $1 million, even in our market center, you can think, oh yeah, that's possible. Just now, how do I figure it out? All these agents are doing big things and figuring out like how to make money. Now, how do I apply it to what I know and how do I do that? So number one, we've got to know our market. And there's two different ways to know your market. One's kind of on a macro level, right? And that would be more of Utah County or your specific city and the county, even the state would be macro to see the big picture of what's going on and even what's going on in the country, right? To understand the economics of things. And then a micro level, really specific facts about neighborhoods or the part of town you want to focus in, maybe your street, what's going on there. So in this section, that's what we're going to learn about a little bit on how to understand the difference in the micro. Let's see. Okay. We're going to learn a little bit about focusing on the big picture and on the little picture. And I've skipped ahead too far. And so to be the real estate expert, it says you must understand the real estate market of the moment. What does that mean to anybody? What's the market of the moment? Why not just the market? Any idea why I would talk about the moment? Market seems weird. Yeah, it changes, right? It changes, shifts. The market 6 months ago was drastically different from the market today. So you've really got to understand the market of the moment and be able to deliver kind of the expertise to your clients on what that is. So 3 different types of markets. Give them to us. They're up.
Yeah, buyer, seller, and balance.
Yep. And does anybody know what the inventory is in our market right now? Anybody look that up or understand or know how? What's that?
It was like about 9,900 active ones right now.
Yeah, it's gone up even more, right? Does anybody know what it was like 6 months ago, 7 months ago?
I remember it being like 4,000 last year or something.
Yeah, and this year is like 2,200.
It was, yeah.
So going from 2,200, we had less than a month of inventory. It was like 2 weeks of inventory. And in a balanced market, it's about 6 months of inventory, we like to say. Balanced market's about 6 months of inventory. And so That means that a really strong seller's market is a lot less inventory than that, because you've got really high buyer demand and low inventory. So that's a really, really strong seller's market. And the way the book explains it, I'll tell you, they say, well, they explain the buyer's market basically as there are more houses for sale than there are interested buyers, right? It's just a law of economics.
How much is a 6 months inventory like?
Well, so a 6 months inventory, good question. What it means is that if not a single, say we have 6 months of inventory, meaning there are so many houses listed right now, if there are 0 houses listed from now and 6 months on, will be sold out in 6 months. I mean, that's what 6 months inventory is. Before, earlier in the year, if we had 2 weeks of inventory, if not a single other house got listed after that 2 weeks, there would be 0 houses for sale in the market. We would be completely sold out. So it's basically the amount of time it would take to sell all the houses that are currently listed on the market. And a 6 months inventory is a pretty healthy market, right? That's where we want to be in that market. So we've
Is
been.
there like a number though, like for a ballpark?
It depends on the market, and it depends on the county. It depends on, and it changes. So if I told you, hey, about 10,000 homes is where we want to be in a, to be in a balanced market, it could change because all of a sudden we get an influx of people like we did during COVID. And now it's actually more of a seller's market with that amount of homes.
Yeah.
It changes based on a lot of economics, based on population growth, all kinds of things. So we do it more based on the number of, but yeah, we can look and say, oh, earlier in the year, we only had about 2 weeks of inventory. That was 2,200 homes. Now we've got, closer to 10,000 homes. Now we're closer to a balanced market. So we can look at, we can look at numbers and compare them that year. And partly the reason I'm not giving exact numbers, because I don't know.
Okay.
But I know it's based on.
So it's more based on like the turnaround rate. Like.
Yeah, turnaround rate of how long it would take to sell all the homes that are on the market. Okay. If we had 10 homes on the market and it would take 6 months to sell them, that's a balanced market in a small community, right? So those are the differences. Buyer's market, there's just more homes and people are willing to buy. And then seller's market, you have very, very few homes, and balanced is usually about 6 months of inventory. What are things that can cause, I guess, a market to shift? We're going through one right now.
High interest rates.
High interest rates is a big one. What else?
Influx of population.
Influx of population, that turned it more to the seller's market. That was a big shift during COVID 2020. We went from kind of a stable balance, a little bit of a seller's market, to a really strong seller's market. Anything else?
A recession.
Recession. So the economy. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And what are we experiencing right now in the economy? It starts with an I and ends with inflation, right? Inflation is huge. It's one of those big variables too. How can knowing your market, what it was 6 months ago, what it is now, what it's doing, how can that help you guys prepare for a shift? Even brand new agents that are just starting, you can't. It used to be, we kind of joked like, starting in like June, July, when things started to slow down, I saw a couple agents post to the newer agents, or to the agents that have been on for a couple of years. And they're like, a price reduction is when you have to reduce the price of the home in order to try to find a buyer, because they've never done that, right? Last couple of years, we haven't done price reductions. We've only raised them, and people are still competing and didn't way over. So how can that help us prepare for shifts, understanding what the market's doing?
You set client expectations.
Yeah, you can help your clients set expectations and understand where the market's going. You think that'll be helpful if you're knowledgeable and you can go in and say, hey, this is what the market was doing. Here's where we are. Here's what is going on. If you can read the numbers, that'd be super helpful to know your numbers. And one of those ways is inventory, right? Number of days on market, like on the slide, the price of a home, what it's selling for now. I just did numbers on one that I got under contract. When we first listed, it could have been at 525 earlier in the year. It's a home in Provo. It's an older home, split level. And then we looked at 515, maybe with 499 seemed about the right price a couple months ago. And they said, well, can we shoot for 515? I said, it's still within the parameters, but things are kind of going down. So we could shoot for it, but I'd recommend we don't stay there very long. Just understand if we want to shoot for it, that's fine. It's up to you. We may need to do a price reduction pretty quickly, but we put it on 515, didn't have we had no offers and maybe 1 or 2 showings. And then, so within a week, we lowered it to $499. And then within a couple other weeks, we had to lower it to $470 or to $480 or something, $479. And then we were at $465, and we were trying to stay ahead because things started dropping drastically. So we're 2 months on, we just lowered to $425 and got a couple of offers. And that's how quick it was going down. Because when we started a couple months ago, the numbers were showing based within the last few months, that's what they could get. But we're not going back 6 months now on comparables and appraisals. We're only going back like 60 days. But even when I did comparables, 90 days behind that was a lot better than what it was even at the moment. So I maybe should have gone 30 days or 60 days. It was something for, I don't know, for me to learn from for sure. What, based on the inventory right now, what kind of market do you guys feel like we're in? If we went from 2,200 to almost 10,000? What's that?
Are we in a buyer's market? Well,
We're dang,
no,
we're
kind
dang
of
close. It's starting to feel like it. I think because we've been in such a strong seller's market for so long, but now buyers are able to offer a little less. They're able to get some
just in a balanced
concessions.
market, honestly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're definitely more in a balanced market. We're in such a, it feels like a buyer's market to me because we're in such a strong seller's market, and now it's back down so much. It's like, holy crap, it seems like opposite end. Well, it's not even opposite end yet. We're just like pretty balanced right now. Let's get to the next slide.
Are people still like making money like off of selling their home? Like,
it's a good question.
Like if somebody bought their home like 5 years ago and they're selling it now.
So this year's prices right now are really comparable to last year's prices, same time. In fact, for a little higher than last year's prices.
Oh, okay, so it's still good.
So yeah, it's
That's
great.
Good. Okay, I was going to say real estate always pretty much appreciates. Even
Always over time, right?
Yeah.
Always over time, the whole
like
history of real estate, but you have these dips. If you're looking at the graph chart, you have some of these dips. And the key is your time in real estate, not time in the market. You'll hear people say, don't try to time the market. It's more about time in the market. Okay. And so, yeah, anyway, if you're talking about somebody that bought their home 5 years ago, yes, it's appreciated a ton. They'll make probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what price range they're in. Okay. Even these folks that I'm selling their home for, they were on a reverse mortgage and they weren't making payments, which means what they owe is going up higher and higher. Yeah. And that's at 280. And they'll still, we'll still sell just over 425. We had offers over.
Oh,
so,
okay. So
people are in a great spot. If they own real estate and they bought it 5 years ago, we talk about the people that sold earlier this year as being kind of the lottery winners. Those folks sold at the highest of highs we've ever had in real estate. Right. So they just happened to get lucky, sold at kind of a perfect time. If they sold beginning of the year, it was partly because people knew interest rates are going up. There's been low inventory for a while. Utah needs more inventory. We're short like 40,000 units. And so they saw interest rates were starting to go up. So it made them super emotional. Like, I got to get a house now. Yeah, I'm still willing to pay $50,000, $100,000 over. And so they decided to jump in and buy what was left, and everybody was scrambling to get a house as rates started going up. And then as rates started going up, people are like, oh crap, that's $500 more a month. Oh, well, now that's $1,000 more a month. Maybe we ought to sit back a minute and see. But people kept listing homes, and then all of a sudden we have a lot more inventory. So let's see. I'm on the wrong page of the slide. Let me get back one. Sorry. Should have practiced with these slides before I came. They just came to me this morning. Okay, sorry, we already just talked about this. We talked a little bit about our inventory. What's the average number of days on market? Anybody know the average number of days on market right now?
Geez, it's 23.
It's 20. Last I checked, it was up close to 30, but depending on, I was doing more Utah County, Eagle Mountain area. So yeah, it was like earlier when we had a super strong market, it was like 5-7 days. It was silly, like it's going super fast. Now it's closer to 30 days, might be 23, might be 32. I don't know what it is now, but it's closer to that. Yeah, it's closer to 30 days now on the market. And what is the average price a home in your market sells for? What city do you guys live in? You
I
said
live in Orem.
Orem, American Fork, Cedar Hills, right? So they might be different price points for all of them. Have you ever looked it up to see what the average price point is?
So I think it's like 500K.
Oh, nice. So around 500. Probably similar, and
I think that's average.
probably a
in
little
Utah.
higher actually
Yeah.
in Cedar Hills.
I think all of Utah's average is like around 500K.
So
But
you-
you go to like Wasatch and it's like $1 million or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Or Summit.
And depending on what part of American Fork you're in, right, that can change pretty drastically. You got some East Bench stuff, and you got some other stuff that's a little bit older, like American Forks. There's a lot of different areas. So, let's skip through some of this. There's so much to ask me to read, and I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna be not have a voice at the end of this if I talk that much. I'm just not gonna talk that much. All right, on to the next page. Who is it? What was the name of the lady you guys were just talking to? Anybody remember?
Oh,
Sheila. Super nice. Interest rates and lender regulations are also something to know about our market. Why would interest rates be important? You were saying, Elizabeth.
why are they important?
Yeah.
Because they give or take away home buying power.
Yeah, that's right.
So over time, your payments can be more, so you can't afford as much.
Yes. Right. So any idea what the difference is on a $500,000 home 6 months ago versus a $5,000 or $500,000 home now?
Oh, it's like 100K for buying power.
Yeah,
something
for
like that, 'cause
buying power.
My husband and I were looking at buying a home last year, but we're self-employed.
Uh-huh.
So we've been looking at them, and I told him, I was like, you should just co-sign last year. And he's like, no, I don't want to co-sign. I want it to be us, because he's stubborn, right? And I was like, okay, well, your stubbornness and your pride just cost us this much money. So,
well, let's see
but
what
our
the
buying
difference.
power is lower. Before, like 6 months ago, we could have qualified for something that was like 500K around that. Probably, like, I feel like that's a good average, like
Yeah.
beginner home price. And then now it's like 300 or 400.
Yeah, beginner home price when I bought in 2008, which was, it was coming down from the crazy high market, but it was still,
Yeah.
it was like 210, 220. I think I bought my first house at 230 or something like that. So, and at the time I was like, oh man, I'm stretching, like, So with an interest, with $500,000 at 7% interest over 30 years, this is not mortgage insurance or anything else. 3326. If we change it back down to say 3%, we go from 3326 down to 2108. Right. So there's $1,200 difference if you got 3% versus 7%. So this isn't on the sheet, but you got to know if you're going to be working with buyers right now, why is now a better time? Look, I'm thinking right now, I'm just going to hold off. Like, it's $1,000 more for me right now to buy. I just don't think this is the right time, right?
Well, real
Right? It's
estate
not the right time.
appreciates. So,
Okay.
and you can always refinance. That's
Oh.
another thing.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I can do that anytime. No, seriously.
Yeah, you
I'm
can.
role playing with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. And I can just refinance and they'll give me the better rate when it changes. Okay. Yeah, I like that idea. Maybe there are some options. You guys have any other ideas? How would you help somebody feel
Why
some
they should get
urgency?
into real estate?
No, why they should buy a home.
Yeah.
If they've been looking and now they're feeling down, why should you buy a home right now?
There's so many reasons. Sorry,
I love it. What's another one?
Well, one is depending on the type of property you buy, it's a way to protect yourself. It's an asset.
Yep.
So it does appreciate over time. When you do go to sell it, it will be worth more.
It's true.
You could maybe even use rent. And then there's different tax incentives.
Ooh, tax incentives. I like that. Because you get to write off all of your interest, right? Even though you're paying more interest, that's all a tax benefit, especially for a real estate agent.
Well, if it's an investment property, you can actually use depreciation as well.
Yeah, I love it. Anything else you guys can think of?
Yeah, I mean, it always shifts, and so it's like everyone was waiting because prices were so high last year, even though interest rates were low. And now it's like, now we're here. And it's like, you just don't know. And it's like you pay rent towards something that doesn't help you in the future.
That's true.
You know,
That's a good point. Rent prices are
Rent
going
prices are going up
skyrocket.
right now,
So would you
too.
rather be buying down somebody else's or paying down somebody else's principal or your own with that money that you are spending anyway?
Mhm.
It's a good point. And what I like to tell people
you
too,
just might not be able to get the same house they wanted.
that's
Obviously.
yeah, and that
This
could be
year,
it
last
if it puts you out. And if it's somebody that had 50 or 100 grand saved up, because it wasn't just that they were paying 50 or 100 grand more and getting a loan for it. They were paying 50 or 100 grand 7 months ago out of pocket.
Mhm.
So you were paying that much more. It was getting the $500,000 home and then paying 575 because now the home's still worth 500, right? And now I got to pay 575 just to get it because there are 5 other people that want it or maybe 15 other people that want it. So that was the market we were in. We were paying 575. Now for a $500,000 home, guess what? We can probably go 475, maybe even 470. You're getting it not only 100 grand cheaper than you were 7 months ago, but you're not having to come out of pocket with 75 grand. How long can that last you? If you had that extra 75 grand and you were going to buy and now you're thinking, oh, now I don't know. That's 75 grand. And yeah, you might be $1,000 more a month or $500 more a month on what you end up getting something for. Maybe not quite that much because you were paying a lot more for the other one. You're paying less for this one. And now you get to keep that $50,000, $75,000 you would have had to spend, right? So you're actually, me personally, I would rather buy now in this market, spend less money because we know interest rates are going to change, and then get a different interest rate later. They say date the rate, but marry the home, so you can change that rate and you're getting a better deal right now, even though your payment's a little bit higher. Your payment doesn't have to stay that way. You get to keep all that extra money that you had saved up. Now, if it's somebody that barely qualified and puts them out, that's a different story, right? But
people are also offering incentives. So
good point. There's another one.
I went to the Builder Expo yesterday, and I got to talk, and every single one of the builders that I talked to is offering like at least 15K towards like the down payment. So they're buying discount points to lower.
Yeah, what they call a 2-1 buy down.
So they're lowering the interest rates, which is really nice. So
That's
there
right.
are incentives.
So you don't actually end up with a 6% or 7% rate. You can buy it down, right?
Just a 4 or 5.
Yeah, well, but if you're buying it down to 4 or 5 and you're paying 100 grand less, would you rather have that than 3%?
I'd rather buy a house now than in a year.
Me too.
So
because it's going to continue to go up. Prices may be down for a while. We don't know. They may stay level off and just kind of stay where they are, but they're still a little bit higher than what they were last year at this time. So real estate is still an incredible investment.
You can also do, like, if you did buy the property that you didn't want, you could always do, what is it, a 1031 exchange? Or is it a 1099?
Yeah, 1031 is typically for investment properties.
Oh. Is it just for investment? You can't do it for your personal residence?
No, you can turn your personal residence into a 1031 if you're going to take that, sell that property, and then take all the equity and put it into an investment property. But you can't you can't turn it in.
I live here and I'm going to sell this and then use that.
Yeah. So if you've been there 2 years, you don't have any capital gains anyway, as long as you're under 250 for a single person, 500 for a married couple, right? On your on what you make your profit on the home. But if you're doing an investment property, 1031 exchange would be the way to go. But primary residence, you get to take it all anyway and decide where to put it, as long as you've lived there 2 out of the last 5 years.
Okay.
So if you haven't quite been there 2 years, it'd be tough to get around paying taxes unless you do turn that into an investment property and then 1031 exchange it after that. You can always turn it into an investment property. Sorry, I hope I'm not getting in or saying the wrong thing. Does that sound right, Brandon?
Yeah. Yep. You just have to buy like something, like you have to like kind of like get your next thing, get going until and it kind of has to go through like a third party. So you just don't really like keep that equity and do what you want with it. It just really rolls over.
For a 1031 exchange for investment properties, you basically defer taxes indefinitely. You just take that, you take those gains and you defer the taxes, put them in another property. The beautiful thing is it snowballs and you get, more and more as you continue to put them into other properties instead of taking the money out, paying taxes, and then trying to put it in. It's a lot less buying power. If you can just defer taxes, Sure, you'll owe more taxes in the end, but the point is to really increase your cash flow, right? The point is to really make money on it. You shouldn't, in the end, if you're doing it enough and have enough investments, you should never have to pull them out. You can pull one property out and pay a little bit of taxes on that one, or take a couple and sell them and pay some taxes, but you can keep snowballing and basically live off of the cash flow, is what a lot of investors do, right? So, yeah, that's why it's important, I guess, on the rates to try to figure out rates and know some lenders like Sheila, like Intralend, like Keller Mortgage, that you can, they've got options. You can do 2-1 buy downs. Instead of doing a 30-year loan like most people have done the last little while, you can maybe look at ARMs, a 7-year loan. And within 7 years, I'm fairly certain, I don't know for sure, but I think rates will be down and you can refinance. But if you do an ARM, you'd have to know that you're either and you're gonna give clients that advice, you'd have to know your plan. You should plan to either refinance or sell before that 7 years is up, because that rate can then fluctuate and go up. So, but it should be a lower rate than what right now our standard 30-year rate is. But it's another option, another tool that you can share with your clients. There are a lot of economic factors that can kind of impact this. Rising unemployment rates could mean the market is changing, but one factor alone doesn't indicate radical change. It says shifts can be good or bad, so always be on the lookout for how the numbers in your market are changing and what these changes mean on a macro or on a micro and macro level. Yeah, this is all about the employment rate, growth rate. Has the government made any changes to rules and regulations that might affect the housing market? Let's see. Oops, darn it. Thing is so sensitive. All right. This one's cool too. So as you guys start previewing homes, does anybody, obviously you have, Brandon, you've been doing real estate. Have you guys ever previewed a home? Have you ever been out with Heather and just gone to see homes when she's showing them? Or not yet? Okay, it'll be cool. Do you have your license yet? Or are you working on it still?
I've had it about a month.
Attaboy. Yeah, nice. Okay. So this will be a really good thing as you guys get out and you're able to go see certain neighborhoods and preview homes. They have open houses. That's a good time to go. It's just good practice to start to get familiar with statistics and neighborhoods and figure out kind of what areas look like, especially close to home, right? Especially, or where you want to work. If you kind of pick a geographical area and you want to stay within 5-10 miles of that, it'd be really good to start going to open houses and seeing them. Or as soon as you get your super key, you get your license, you can just set up a showing and say, hey, I'd like to preview this home, if that's okay. And most showing agents are like, yeah, sure, no problem. Let me check with my client. You can go out and see, take a look. And man, then all of a sudden when you have a buyer in that market or seller in that market, oh yeah, you know what? I know this home. I saw it, I toured it, and it compares in this way. The view was pretty nice, but actually it smelled like cat pee. So I think you're going to be able to pay a higher dollar. Like you're going to know about you're going to know specific things about your market, about those homes that have sold and have been on the market. So what other market factors, I guess, can be good to investigate? Any idea?
It's not up there, but I said schools. I wrote schools.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Schools are super important. I have some clients that have had small children, like, hey, what's the school system like? And there's nothing more embarrassing than be like, I have no idea. I'm not really familiar with this area. Obviously, I'm not going to say it like that. I'll say, most of the schools in Utah are really, really good. Let me check on the elementary school here. I don't have any kids that don't. Let me double check on that type thing. But what a better answer if you say, oh, you know what? They were rated this and they're actually really high. And, we're really proud of this school system. They're doing some great things and they have a Chinese immersion program. Like if you could really study a couple of things before you took buyers out to that market and they're like, well, what about the schools? Oh, guess what? I was super interested in that too. I have young kids too. Or yeah, schools are important to me for whatever reason. And then you can tell them about them. That's a way more impressive answer than, I'll look at that for you. I'll find out. People appreciate that. They appreciate it even more when you're knowledgeable and you can say, oh yeah, guess what? This school system is awesome because of this. Some of the other things that they tell us are developments. You can watch for new roads going in, office buildings, gas stations, shopping centers, tech companies. Anybody familiar with what tech company moved to Eagle Mountain? I had to be super familiar with it, right? Because that's where I'm trying to sell and make it kind of my market. Facebook, put a big tech center there, and they've been building. It's like a 10-year project. It's huge. And they donated I can tell people they donated $100 million to Eagle Mountain City's infrastructure. And they're like, wait a minute, donated? It's not just going to cost that to build it. Oh no, it's going to cost a lot more to build the center there. They donated $100 million just to help the city out and to get more roads out there. And so Eagle Mountain's growing like crazy. They just had Tyson Chickens that put a big plant out there. They had Boeing, I know, that was looking at some warehouse space out there. They've got Pole Canyon where all these new warehouse spaces are going. And if I talk to somebody that's an investor, going to look, or somebody that's interested, that thinks City Center might be too far out, but yeah, it's another few minutes out, but you get way more for your money right there in City Center than you would in the Ranches area. Like I can talk to them about Eagle Mountain. I know it really well. I live there, right? And that's how it should be for Orem and Cedar Hills and American Fork. You got to know what's going on around you. Let's see. Skip to the next. All right. The reason we share ahas, and we will in all these classes, is because they're basically insights that come from your and reflection from experiences and learning that we're having in here, whether they're personal experiences that Brendan's had or that I've had, or stuff that you maybe learned for just the first time. So for just a second, maybe what ahas have you had this morning? Maybe something that you didn't know. It says that the more you say them out loud, the more you strengthen the power of the aha, and it helps you remember it. You're not only listening to it and writing it down, but now you're saying it. Now other people are hearing it a second time. Is there something that you had an aha with this morning?
I think for me, just the other market factors, like knowing, researching the schools and stuff before you go there. I never thought about doing that.
Yeah, I hadn't either. That's why I got called off guard lots of times. I was like, oh, people keep asking about this. And I mean, Elizabeth already knows it. She already knows she got to be researching that. It was already important to her. It took me a time or two. I'm a slow learner sometimes. I love it.
Yeah, I just thought that was a good idea. Good to know.
That's a great idea. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Brandon, Elizabeth, you guys had anything?
I think a little more like tax factors in this all.
The tax factors, yeah. Yeah, it's a huge one to know, especially for, regular primary residents, but for investors especially too, right? There's crazy tax incentives for them.
There's that 1031 exchange is not for residential properties.
Yep. No,
there you go.
Well, and let's make sure the verbiage is right. It is for residential properties. It's not for primary residences.
Okay, there we go.
You can definitely do it on residential. Yeah, not for your own personal residence. I know what you meant though.
Yes.
Not for
Unless
your primary
it's an investment
residence.
property.
Yes. Yes, not for your primary residence. So, yep. Okay, thanks for sharing. It makes me feel like I'm not the only one talking in here. You know, in a listing presentation or even with buyers, I make it a goal to talk less than half of the time. Personally, unless they really have questions and want me to explain and kind of go into the marketing and tell them more. I love when I can just ask thoughtful questions and have them tell me more. And by the end of it, they're like, oh, wow, we really feel like that guy knows us. We really trust him. He really cared about what we had to say type thing, right? So this is a little bit hard for me to go through and read stuff from the book. And anyway, so let's look at 4 steps you guys can take to start building your expertise. So, and obviously these aren't going to be the only things, but they're going to be a good starting point. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm just going to read this because it's like 2 paragraphs. It all starts with the language of real estate, also known as lore, L-O-R-E. Know how your market is moving, how to communicate with buyers and sellers. Ask yourself if there are signs of the market picking up or slowing down. It's also important to track the numbers and reports from your market center. How do your local numbers and their changes compare to the national market? How do things flow, or how are things flowing? So I actually brought down, Nova Lee has market trends. This will show from 2011 all the way down to 2022. And it shows This is the agent count, so not as important for you guys in recruiting appointments. This one is, let's see, appointments. Not everybody tracks those, so I'm gonna put that one away. This one is net agents. That one's mostly for those guys. Close units per agent. Based on how many agents we had, this was how many closed units per agent. That one's tricky too, because you have so many agents that are inactive. All right, sales volume per agent. Listings taken is even better. From January of 2010, there were 21 listings taken in the market center. January of 2022, we had 59, which is better, right? But 2021, we had 115. What was the difference in 2021 and 2022? It was like we took like half the listings, right? That was that super low inventory. 2021, we knew it was already low inventory at the time. And so was 2020, but then.
Is this just for Utah? Or
this is just for our market center. So all the agents in our market center, we dropped our listings by almost half beginning of this year. The inventory was super, super low. And knowing some background on our market center, we're really, really good at taking listings. We take lots of listings every month, but for that month, we only had 59 compared to 115 the year before. And then if you want to, you can look, and this is, so all this is available to you guys. You can look at, oh, in February, then we took 78. Then in March, we took 100. Then 89, 111, 113. See how the listings started building up. We've taken more. I'm sorry, you're gonna ask something.
How many active agents do you guys have here?
You know, we had, I think I can tell you with one of these sheets, we had over 300.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, closed unit net agents.
For Westfield?
Yeah. Yes. There's over 300 agents. And I think I can tell you with this one. Oh, right here. So we had 326 in August compared to 322 the year before, 298, 304, 298. It's averaged around there. We're high right now at 326. Had as much as 338. Looks like the highest that I could see. Oh, 349 last year. But some people have bottomed out. They've dropped off. And it's because real estate got a little bit, it got a little bit more, there had to be a little bit more work, right? When it's easy, everybody wants to sign up for real estate. And then when you actually have to think, oh man, I got to know market statistics. I should probably practice and role play. Like I gotta be ahead of groom and Facebook all my friends and direct message them and post some stuff once in a while about real estate. I've got to be strategic and know marketing. Like then not everybody wants to do it, right? It's people like you guys that are at the right brokerage that's going to teach you the right things to do so you can be successful even in a down market. Or not a down market, but a market that seems to be slowing, like in the number of sales and it's changing with interest rates. So anyway, this is super interesting. It'll show listings that we've taken, the closed volume, like lots of cool stuff. So how do you think our listing volume's done now in the last couple of months compared to the beginning of the year? Have we sold more homes or less? What would you guess?
The like listings sold.
Yeah, listing sold volume. So January we sold over 35 million in homes. There's more in February, 41 million, almost 42 million, March, almost 46 million. And then April is when it started to drop a little and we had 39, but then we're 56 in May, from 56 million down to 35 million in June, then 46 million, then 39 million. Like it's like fairly consistent, like close to 40 million, right? It feels like it's dropping and things are getting tougher and maybe they are getting a little trickier, but we're still having tons of sales. This month in August compared to January, we've sold 4 million more in our office, which is interesting because I was thinking, oh man, gotta think of ways and be productive and work hard, but as long as you continue to work, the sales are still there. Sales haven't dropped off. It didn't cut in half and go to 15 or 20 million. They're still there. It's still 40 million. Last month it was 46. It was the next highest that it's been all year other than May. So, and last year it felt like July was a slow month, and it was. Before that it was 62 million, then July was 45, and then it was 52. And anyway, it's kind of cool to look at it and think, oh yeah, we're all right. It seems like things have slowed way down, but guess what? We're still selling the same amount. So sorry, kind of got off on a tangent. My bad. So we've already seen some of the signs that are having the market pick up or slow down.
Do you think people are just saying it's like slower just because it's a little bit harder to sell the homes? So like the average agent is feeling that a little bit more or feeling that pressure? Maybe?
I think so. And I think it's what we kind of got used to, right?
Like a mental thing more than like actually like what's going on.
Well, the speed in which homes are selling and which listings are selling is slower, right? We went from 5-7 days on the market to now 30 days. So it is a longer process. But in our minds, that to me, that first meant like, oh crap, we're not going to sell as many homes. It's slowing way down. It just means they're a longer sell cycle. It doesn't mean we're slowing down the number of sales we get every month, and it doesn't mean it's going to kill our commission. We might actually make more in a market that's shifting because other agents are thinking that exact thing, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I used to just put it on and sell. Like I have no idea how to sell a home now. I don't know how to have a conversation with the seller. I told him it was worth maybe in this 475 range. How did I get him to go to 425 where we're going to get multiple offers now? That's tough. I hate having conversations where I have to lower price. I like to be able to price it just right. And yet, can I control the shift? Is there anything I do personally to control it? Not a thing. Market's going to shift. It's cyclical. It can go up, it can go down, it can stay the same, it can be buyer seller's market. I can't change the shift, but I can change what I'm doing in the market. I can decide whether I'm going to make more phone calls because, man, I haven't gotten as many phone calls this week. I'm not just working on 5-6 deals at a time. Now I can just spend time and talk to people that know me, like me, trust me, and spend some time with them and build my business. So, this is, the book's kind of, the manual's kind of reminding us as we track the market. We talked about the macro and micro market. We can track our business as well. As you get into this, we'll have some tools for you with Command and with, the app that you guys can track your business. It's not just important to track the market. Novalee said she had an agent come into her office and say, I feel like I'm slower this year. And this was a couple of years ago, right? She's like, I feel like my business, I just feel like it's slower. And they looked at her numbers. She was down 50 grand at that point in the year than she was the year before. And she's like, well, yeah, no wonder it's only July and you're 50,000 less than you were the year before. She was like, oh, no wonder, right? Had she been tracking her numbers? Probably not. She probably had no idea how many closings she had. She maybe wasn't tracking appointments, which are super important. So you gotta be able to track your own numbers and analyze your leads and your appointments and your transactions as much as you do the real estate market, because that's going to affect you as much personally. Knowledge is power. So it says know your numbers. All right. And this part about, oh, this is not the slide that it's supposed to be on. Is this automatically turning? Sorry. All right. Know your language of real estate. So that was all about knowing our numbers and noticing changes over time. Holy cow, it changed again. I didn't even push it. All right, I'm gonna put my cursor down there. The next part's learning about your clientele. So as you're monitoring your own numbers in your market, ask yourself who might benefit from current and future trends and what's going on, who might be at risk. If you know somebody's planning to sell next year and right now things are dropping, I may want to call them. My brother is going through a divorce right now, which is terrible. But if he's like, oh, she wants to settle and just wants X amount from the house. And he's like, that seems like a pretty good deal because the house is worth a lot more, right? And I'm like, maybe. Let's look at the numbers. I think right now things have gone down quite a bit in your neighborhood. I know his neighborhood really well. Let's look and see if that's a benefit. And if you are going to do that, then you're going to need to maybe, if things keep going the way they are and they go down and interest rates keep going up, you're going to either need to sell now and sell quickly, or you're going to need to be able to hang on to it at least 2 or 3 years, right? So you can get out of that trough of the real estate market where it's down a little bit. I don't know, that's a personal reason. It's important to understand where my clients are and who's doing what and why they need to know stuff. He was still assuming that it was like what it was 6 months ago. I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, well, I knew interest rates are going up, but that shouldn't affect price much. Yeah, Yeah, it does actually. It affects affordability quite a bit. And he's like, oh, shoot. Okay. So now he's like, yeah, let's do comparables and figure out if I should pay this much or if we should say, let's sell it and just split it. And that's kind of what he's leaning towards now because I helped him with the numbers. It also says when you're learning your clientele, like it's got up there, listen to what people are saying to you because they live in their own world and new objections might come to the picture. And then people, I don't know, they're what they say and what they believe is their reality, right? They may be watching headlines and say, oh, the market, is doing this or that. And it may not even be correct. So understand what clients and people actually think, and then help them with the knowledge that you have to correct maybe some of those beliefs that maybe aren't true, in a nice way. Says know who could benefit from the changes you're noticing in the market numbers. Keep this in mind when it comes to lead generation. So when you're talking to people and somebody says, hey, how's the market? What's a good response for that? You're going to know you're in real estate because you're going to be posting once in a while. And some of your friends are going to say, hey, Elizabeth, I saw you got into real estate. That's cool. How's the market? And you're going to want to have some kind of response, right? You're going to want to say, oh, it's bad right now. It's tough. And you're not going to want to say, oh, it's the best time we've ever seen to buy a home, because that's not necessarily true.
I think the market is.
Yeah,
is right now.
Well, that's right. But you got to think about it, because now when somebody asks you, you don't want to.
I don't think it's a bad time.
Oh, how come?
Because real estate's always a good investment.
That's right. I agree with you.
That's my attitude. So
I love it. I love it. That's a great way. Any other guys have that? If the client says, how's the market?
Interest rates are still low compared to right? Isn't it over a 20-year
historically low?
Historically
low?
That's
a good way to explain it.
At 18% interest.
Yeah,
so,
that's a great story. Well, you know what? Depends on who you ask. But my parents bought at 18% interest rates for a little higher than they were earlier in the year. But guess what? Now you're not paying $100,000 over, so it's a great time. If you ask me. I don't know if they're planning to buy, sell, or invest. So I always say,
it helps to what their situation is. Is this a good time for that?
Yeah. And that's normally what they're asking, right? If they say, how's the market? I always say, gosh, it depends. Are you looking to buy, sell, or invest? And then I'll know what they're thinking. If they just say, oh, no, and I was just curious. I'm like, oh yeah, well, here's kind of what's going on. But if they're like, well, we're actually thinking of doing an investment because we think, numbers are going down because rates have gone up. Is there more wiggle room? I'm like, absolutely. This is the perfect time to invest. Rates have gone up, so it's knocking out a lot of the primary residence buyers. There's more opportunity for investors right now if we can make the numbers make sense.
Is it ever a bad time to buy real estate or to sell real estate? Good
question. Yes. If somebody bought in January or February this year, and now they are $100,000 underwater with what they can sell for now.
Yeah.
To me, that'd be a bad investment. So there could be most often no, because most people are in their home over time. But let's just say that one of your clients bought earlier in the year. Holy crap, Elizabeth, we bought in February. We might have paid too much. We paid $600. The neighbor stuff's going for $525, $550 now. Is that all we can get? And you may want to have a conversation. Hey, look, I care about you guys. Sure, I'd love to sell the home for you, but yeah, it looks like I did some comparables right now. You're in that 550 range. And so it looks like, after title insurance and what you lose, you're in the hole about 65, 70,000, whatever the number is, right? And talk to them about it and say, look, do you have the ability to hang on to this? Investing in real estate is an awesome thing too. Can you have somebody rent it? You want to look at numbers. Obviously I can help you sell it. It would be a loss. So if you're okay with that, we can do that. But could we have somebody, are you willing to rent it out, or is selling it the only option? I want to help you understand all your options. And if renting it out is a good option and it can cover your cash flow, or maybe you only lose a little each month and you're okay with that, then we know, I'm guessing in the next few years, because there's still a deficit of units in Utah that we need, we're 40,000 short. I'm guessing your value is going to pop back up in a year or two. That's a decision you have to make, Elizabeth, if you're willing to lose money each month to rent it out, or if it'll cover. I think that would be better than losing money now. It's up to you though. I don't know what your personal, and obviously you'll ask a bunch of questions to figure out what is important to them and to figure out if they'd rather take the loss because they don't want to worry about, an investment property. So there are times where I think you've really got to always keep their best interests at heart, because I think we can always sell them on, now's the time. And you can create that urgency, which I think is important, especially if it is good for them, somebody that's been sitting on the fence. I'm saying, yes, now's the time to buy. I would do it right now. Now is a better time to buy than it was even just a little while ago. And everybody was buying then. Now people are so hesitant. Now you can go in and get a great deal. Like, I would really encourage them. But if it's somebody that's in a tough situation and, they know they're going to need to get out of here in 6 months, be like, yeah, I can help you buy. If you really need to leave in 6 months, either consider keeping it as an investment or, I don't know. You'd have to decide if you want to bank, if it's going to appreciate enough in 6 months or if it might go down more. The way the market's been, it could be down more. So you might lose money. And there may be some time where you have to encourage somebody to rent for a short time, I don't know.
So how you'd answer that question is it's tailored to the individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you take the individual out, is there ever really a bad market?
I don't think so, personally. None that I've been a part of. I think it was a great market 6 months ago when people were paying over, because we could once in a while figure out how to get a house without them paying over. I'd go to builders and I'd find something that was off market. I could make that a good market, right? Without having to have them compete and spend $100 grand over. But the reality is a lot of people were spending 50, 100 grand over. So I can share that with my clients truthfully and ethically and having their best interests at heart and show them the difference in yesterday's market and today's. They got a little bit lower payment because of the low interest rate. You got a higher payment, but a much better deal. Like, depending on how long you're going to be in a house, it would take you 8 years to make up the difference of that extra 50, 100,000 that they spend on the home. Even though you have a higher payment, it'd take you like 8 years to make up the difference. So are you going to stay in this house for less than 8 years? Traditional moving time, the average is 7. I've only stayed in my homes for less than 5 years. That's what a lot of people do. So if you're going to stay in your house less time, this is a much better deal in today's market. If you're going to keep it for 30 years, just plan to refinance and it can still be a better deal. So yeah, I don't know a time where there's not a good time to buy, right? Because we talked about it's not about time in the market. It's about time in the market. So that's my opinion for what it's worth.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anything key here. Skip on to the next slide. It's not changing. So this one talks about taking a grassroots approach. Anybody have any idea what that would mean? What's a grassroots approach?
I had, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, no, sorry, jumping back 2 seconds.
Yes. Yeah, dude.
I had a client last year who was like, we bought a house for his son and him, and then he like ended up selling it like right after because his son's like decided not to move or whatever. And I'm just curious, like thinking about like that. And then we bought it for $350 and he sold it for $355, and then so you don't need to be paying capital gains on just that, and so I think it like kind of leveled off. But that was just interesting, with people like buying incentive. Like you think it might not happen, like nobody would buy in February and try to sell now, but it's like and I had it happen in like a month.
Yeah,
so
it's wild, huh? And
Yeah.
even though he might have sold for a really similar price, he probably still had 3% commission. He still had title insurance. Yeah, he probably lost, right?
I don't know.
He said he sold for
exactly,
$355.
Yeah, but I don't know like what the buyer paid towards it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that was all happening.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, but yeah, I bet he did have a loss, which is interesting to me because like this guy doesn't work. He's like 50 something, and he has like a million investment properties in Oregon. And he's like moving them all here. And so
wow.
it's like that was interesting to me. That it was actually interesting. Like I'm getting off into a tangent, but
No, it's good.
He like we're like close friends, and like I helped him for a while when we bought, and then all of a sudden this listing agent that I was like working with calls me and was like, what the hell, like why is my like property posted with the same like pictures, like those are my pictures, and I'm like, I'm not listing it, like what are you talking about? We like closed last week, and I go on there and he was listing it with another guy, and I was like, I gave him a call, I was like, oh, like like hey, what's up? And he's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, sorry, like this other agent, like I owed him a favor. So like, I'm doing it with him, but he sucks. Like he didn't even list it he listed it on like Friday, not on Tuesday when I wanted it. We got no traffic and he hasn't even put up the sign, blah, blah, blah. And there was like all this drama between this agent I was working with and the new one.
Yeah.
Over this, like using her photos. Anyways, just drama. I ended up following the deal just because, I'm working with him now actually on another property. So it like worked out as far as my relationship with this client, but it was funny about how they bought and sold. And you never know is what I'm saying.
Can you use somebody else's photos?
Not like that.
What if you bought the home? Can you use the photos?
Like you
have to buy the photos.
You'd have to buy them. Yeah, you cannot just use the photos.
Like,
You don't have permission. That agent maybe spent a couple $100. Those photos belong to her.
Yeah.
Right? You can't use them. I sold a house, my personal home, and then this older couple moved in, and I kind of stayed in touch. So I was bummed when they didn't use me to list it, but relisted again. But my house sold, the next time, and I went to check out the listing. It was all my photos.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? These are all the photos that I paid for. I don't even know how you got them. And so I did what any agent should do and contacted. I called UCAR. I let them know. I don't know, but I called them and let them know, like, hey, they don't have my permission to use these photos. Every single one of these photos, except for number, 10 and 13, are all mine. I took them when I sold. You can compare them. They don't have permission. And it was an agent. It was like a seasoned agent. I'm like, better.
Exactly.
And then I contacted the agent and said, hey, you need to take these photos down. Take your own photos. These aren't mine. If you'd asked permission, if you'd asked me, I'd said, yeah, I don't care, man. That's great. Congrats on the listing. But I just look at it and he's using all my stuff that I paid for. I'm like, bull crap. You're not using my stuff. I'll turn it in for that. And that's and not to be a tattletale. And I hate the idea of that, but we've got to self-police. If somebody's doing something negligent, it hurts our profession. And that maybe not so much, but if you hear something and something, like, we're the ones that have to do something about it. There's no real estate police to monitor us. We have to monitor each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, anyways, and I just went off, but I just was curious because I had forgotten what the sold price was. But he probably did take a loss, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Closing costs are like a couple thousand.
Yeah, that was crazy to me. I was like, just keep the property. I don't know. It was like a little bit of drama, but it's all good now.
Sounds like he had 50 properties, probably a multimillionaire, and maybe it wasn't, a big thing to him. So
it just was funny. So, anyways,
the whole grassroots approach is what we've been talking about, of understanding your clients and being there, trying to be in front of them when they ask things like, how's the market? Have some kind of helpful information to them, right? And listen to what they're saying. Like, oh, I don't think now's a good time to sell. My neighbor's price was lower and it hasn't sold yet. I'm going to hold off on selling mine. And then you can talk about why now might be a really good time to sell, and figure out maybe first where they're coming from. All that to say, that kind of underlines the key point of be present, right? Be there, know where your people are and how you're guiding them through their journey, because it's all about them, right? It's not about us. One of the things they actually have, the how's the market question in here. They said that they had a real estate agent that always wore his real estate t-shirt. So he had people come up to him and say, how's the market? His response was, the market is great. Why do you ask? So I was kind of like, yours, that's really good. It's great. Why do you ask? Oh, well, I heard, and then you can get into it with them. I was like, yeah, it depends. You buy and sell, investing. And that was just something I heard from somebody. Anything good that I have to share isn't mine. It's something that I've learned from somebody else, or ripped off from somebody else.
What's your thoughts about homie?
Oh man, great thoughts about homie. Why do you ask?
It's crazy, huh? I know, right? Yeah, because like I was going to list with homie, but he's off.
Oh, so we're role playing. Sorry, I thought you were asking his agent. Oh yeah. No. Ask me again. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm curious because like I had a friend who like works a little bit with homie, and then
no, get back into the role play. Ask me. I'd love to answer it.
I don't know.
What are my thoughts about homie? Gosh, I think they have a really, really cool idea. And I think they take crisp pictures. They do a few things right. And they also concern me a little bit. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but there's some things that have been concerning, because I've actually sold some homie homes and had some agents try to bottom line, I don't know why you're asking, but if we find a homie home, know that we'll be able to negotiate that one probably lower than most. They have agents that get paid on just kind of a salary, and they're ones that haven't earned it or learned how to make things work on their own. And so that's personally been my experience with homie. I know some people have had okay experiences. I know there've been some lawsuits against them. There's a lot of info out there, so do your best research. But I can show you on paper if you're asking about why to list or talking about the list with homie. They have kind of a flat fee compared to a percentage of ours. Their fee you pay no matter what, whether they sell your home or not, or whether they make you a lot less money. Our fee, you only pay it if we sell the home on what I'm telling you we can do, on what I'm telling you we can do. But I can show you the numbers too, how I sell homes. I can tell you on the sell side for more than that company. On average, I sell my homes for a lot more than that company. And I can show you the numbers on it. So I don't know. That's been a similar response. I try not to get into the mudslinging.
Yeah.
But if they ask specifically, well, what about this? What about, my neighborhood?
And like I had a transaction with Open Door. I hate it. I don't like Open Door. I just have a hard time, but it's just hard because
on a personal note, I don't love homie, but I'll tell them, hey, there are a couple things I really like about them, but this is kind of the interaction. We've been able to get their prices way down, or we've been able to, if I have them on the buy side, I've been able to get them to come up to our price or sell for more, because their agents aren't really seasoned negotiators. They go get their license, and it'd be like, you guys going to grab your license in a month, you could go work there, right? They'd say, hey, we're going to give you transactions, and you'd be like, okay, cool. And you're smart, capable individuals, but you haven't sold a lot of homes yet, right? And that's normally who they cater to, because they can pay them a smaller wage, and then they can just pay them a little bit of commission on a transaction. And they're pretty fun to negotiate against, because sometimes they have no idea. They'll sign addendums and do things that I'm like, oh man, I can't believe you accepted that. Now you have to sell it to us no matter what. The appraisal comes, just silly stuff. And I'm like, man, this is, even if the appraisal comes in 20 grand low now, like we think it is, you've already agreed to sell it for the appraisal value. And, you could have waited, but that's fine. That's good. That's what we wanted. So I won't get into all that with client, but I'll just say, there are some concerns, because there's a lot of new agents and they try to do this. They've got a different approach. They're just different companies, but I can show you how I can net you more money than a flat fee rate company like Homey or any of these other companies Intermountain can do. Are you more concerned about with what you pay commission or what you net in the end?
I like that you assumed the sale too. Like when you were talking for the role play, you're just like, when I sell your house or when we go and negotiate with them, I'll be able to get you. It's like, would you use that with somebody that's not, like, you haven't signed like the agent agreement?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I just assume that if they invited me, well, if they invited me over and they're interviewing me, I already know them their best option, right? They're not going to have a homie agent that's going to be a better option for them. They're just not. And that's having my client's best interest at hand. Like, I would cringe if one of my clients picked homie, and I've had them do it before. I've found out later that they didn't talk to me, and somebody wanted to try homie. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope they don't get blown away on this.
Yeah,
I had a buyer that tried to sell on his own, and he just put it up on Facebook. And I said, okay, how much did you sell it for? And he came to me and he's like, dude, I think I made a mistake. And I'm like, okay, what did you do? Well, we advertised it. We just thought it'd be better that way. And we just did it on Facebook. We got a buyer and we signed a contract. And I said, oh, so you're under contract. That might be why you're worried about it. He's like, well, yeah. Can I get out of it? And I said, man, it is tough for a seller to get out of contract. Buyer, sure, you have contingencies and you can cancel. But a seller, you not only would lose earnest money, but they could force you to sell. They could see you. Like, it's a little trickier from the seller side, but let me take a look. So I went over, I looked at it, and he told me he was under contract at 415. I was like, okay. So I looked at the contract and I was like, Josh, you're under contract at 300 something. And he's like, well, that's because the buyer said since they weren't using an agent, they should get 3% off. And then that's because they said they needed new carpet. So I gave them $7,000 for new carpet. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, here are the comps. Your house is worth about $465. And so we're $75,000 difference here from what it's really worth, right? This is what you should get. yep, there's there's some fees for the brokerages, but you still make a lot more money if you sell it. Now let's look at it. So I looked at this contract and we were past the earnest money deadline and it was supposed to go to title. I was like, look, this is the only thing I can see. If the earnest money wasn't in by this date, then you can cancel the contract. If they screwed up and didn't turn it in, my guess is they didn't. They don't have an agent. Maybe they don't know that it had to be in by that deadline, but that's what's checked on here. Had to be in within 4 calendar days, right? And so we called title company. They hadn't seen the earnest money. We're on that like day 6 now or 7. No earnest money. So I was like, look, you can cancel it now. Here's what you have to say. I was like, and then we can list this thing. So anyway, he canceled it. It was fine. Got out of it. And then of course he listed with me and then sold it. And now, when I went in to list with him, 6%, right? That's what I charge. Unless, they want upgraded stuff and then it can be 7. You can go 6.5 or 7. But anyway, when I went in and sat with he and his wife, and they were like, what about the commission side thing? What can you do to help us? And they both kind of stared at me. I was like, man, I can help you. I can definitely help you guys out. I'm going to sell for a lot more money than what you guys were going to sell for. Yeah. And I said, so I can definitely help you there. And I was like, half of this is already going to the buyer side. And then the other part goes to our brokerage gets paid. Then I'm paying taxes and marketing to get your house sold. That's what you want, right? And yeah. And so I was worried they were going to, be sticklers about it. I just was like, okay, I'm not going to worry about it. I've helped these guys out and saved them like 50 grand. Like they're gonna use me. They did, and now they refer everybody to me. They gave me a referral not too long ago that was a 600-something thousand on home, made over 18,000. I was like, so people that you can help like that and show your knowledge of the market and go, hey, this is what we can do. All right, this is how you could possibly get out of it. Here's what you need to do. They're gonna appreciate you, and they'll be forever clients for sure. So
yeah.
You guys got any other questions? What time do we need to be done with this? Because we can skip through this a little bit faster. I know we're being recorded. Maybe I should.
Thinking it normally goes like 11:30.
Okay, well, we need to probably pick up the pace, and that's my bad. No, you're good. This talks about keeping headlines in context. We talked a little bit about that. You're going to see on the news and other places that, I don't know, social media, what's going on, and all the crazy things. What ahas have you guys had about how to build your expertise in the market? If you haven't had any that have completely failed, and I apologize, we'll move on.
I just, the thought of being present, like it's not about you, it's about them.
Yeah. Man, what a good thought. That's awesome. Yeah.
I like jump the gun sometimes in my thoughts about like somebody's intention to ask me or like to buy or sell or something. And it's like, you really taking a minute to like ask that situation, like why they're doing it, and like get expectations on the table. I think on both sides.
Yeah, cool.
Just know your stuff. Just know your stuff and be available.
Yeah, that's key, right? You can know your stuff if you're not around and you're not with your people, or not going to help, huh? All right, let's explore a couple of tools to help you. And I think we're not going to spend a ton of time on these. Have you guys downloaded the KW Command app?
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't, jump on and download it. It's cool. And I'll show you real fast. We're not going to spend much time on this. They want us to go over it and how amazing it is. And it is cool, but we're not going to spend it.
Is this what tracks your numbers and stuff?
Yes, but it's only if you're putting all your numbers in, right? In KW Command, if you're not putting your numbers in, garbage out, right? So if you're putting all your numbers in and you put how many appointments you've been on, how many calls you made, like it can track all that stuff. Tell me when you got it there.
Yeah, no, I do.
Okay, cool.
Do you like Command?
I do, actually.
What else do you use?
I used Realty Juggler for a while, and I liked that one because it could do the drip campaigns. It was cheap. It was like $99 a year. So I thought, oh, well, I'll try that. And
I had Follow Boss at $70-something bucks a month.
So, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pricey one.
Yeah, and then I used Boomtown for a bit. And I like Boomtown.
Boomtown is cool. How much is that one?
I didn't have to pay for it. My like broker like brought in Google like ad leads to the website and just filtered it out to us. But I liked it. Yeah. I'm always curious what people think.
So I can tell you Boomtown, like is a lot of times they'll use it for teams, but they're over $1,000 a month. It's insane. And then if you're going to do more advertising, you're probably 13, 18, a couple grand a month for Boomtown. It's expensive. It's good. And for a big team, maybe it'll work better because you can work more and get lots of leads, but you got to have lots of people also to follow up with them too, right?
Yeah.
So,
But you use Command now.
I do. Yeah. I've got all my people in there, and it is really, really cool because you can put, not only do you have all your people in, but you can tag them. You can use all these different tags. Like I have bought, sold, VIP, buyers. My VIPs are ones that have either bought and sold and referred somebody to me. And I have tags for family. I used to work for Highway Patrol, so I've got tags for my old UHP buddies. Like I've got tags for whatever. And then if I want to search by a certain tag, I can just click in the tag, and then all those people pop up. Like if I want to tell my Highway buddies, hey, look, I want to help you guys. I'm doing a 1033 thing this month, and here's what it is, or whatever. Like it's nice to sort. But then not only that, it does these automatic. You can do all these different drip campaigns. You can do these market snaps for your neighborhood, and the AI is getting really good. So just for your neighborhood, it doesn't give you a price for your home, but it shows you like what's sold around you and what things have been going forward. And people, I'm sure they like to get hellos and highs from me on email, and some people may read a market newsletter, but I'm betting most of them don't. I'm betting most people get so much email that they see marketing email and they just delete it. But when they see like homes value type stuff, that's the one. And I only know because I click on it from lenders. They send it like your home value now, and they have HomeBot and other ones they use. I usually click on it even if it's off. I'm like, that's off. I know what it is. I did comps the other day. But if you're sending stuff that's relevant to people and it's not too frequent, it's once a month, once a quarter. I feel like it's better than HomeBot. I like it better than HomeBot. HomeBot gives me an exact price, and it has always been wrong, like by hundreds of thousands on my home. Like it's been way off on my house. So
we talked about it a little bit the last couple of years, but I think to do it.
But, so I didn't love it. But it's cool. It's just it's so far off from my house. I like the ones that just show this is kind of what ours are, because here's the neighborhood. Here's what things have been doing in your neighborhood. And some people are even just nosy and like, oh, so-and-so listed their house. I know that house. People are interested in that kind of stuff, I feel like, more than your marketing emails. Personally, marketing emails are a good thing too. Some people read them, but the ones that directly impact them, I think KW Command is really good for that. And the KW app. And you can share your app on Instagram. If you go, you guys have, I'm assuming you're all younger than me, so I'm assuming y'all have Instagram accounts. So on my Instagram account, if you go on, let's see, if I go to my homepage there, then I can click on, and I just have my KW link right there, right? I can click on it, and anybody will go into Keller Williams app, and then they can just start searching for homes. So I put that as part of my thing. You can see which ones have open houses, calendars, price reductions, whatever. Click on one. And then of course it gives you all the info. And if they do it from my link, guess whose information pops up? It's always my information, right? Your agent, Cam and Hyatt, and there's his license number. So it's a cool app. I just put it on my Instagram. It's like the thing at the top of my page, Facebook. So Command is awesome though. Like you can design campaigns. Like if you have leads come in, you can have it set up so that you do a video. Like you can pre-record videos and, hey, thanks for your inquiry on this home. I'd love to talk to you. Let me know if sometime tomorrow morning would work for you. I also have time between 2 and 4 in the afternoon, and it can just be videos that you've uploaded from YouTube or whatever. It's really cool if you take the time, and now would be a really good time to do it while you're starting, right? So it's pretty rad. And it all sends automatically. All I have to do is add the person's info to Command, click on it and click, new lead campaign. And now it'll send them, it can send them automated text. It'll send them automated emails, and it'll send them videos in them too, if you wanted to. So I'm just starting to do that stuff. I just did a couple videos. Command is just a part of your tech stuff. I want to say in general, it's like 25 bucks a month, 30 bucks a month.
I've heard about that, yeah.
But it's Command, it's all your tech stuff. It's, yeah, whatever the market center stuff, whatever. What else do we have?
Trainings on like how to use it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in Command itself, there are some really good trainings. You can click and figure out like what parts of Command you want to learn to use. I'd recommend going right in and figuring out how to import all your contacts. I wouldn't worry about sorting them before you put them in because it's super easy to sort them in Command, but I go in and just import your contacts. And Command, actually, Keller Williams in general, we have an agreement with Facebook. Since we're the biggest real estate company in the world, we were able to get an agreement with Facebook. So if you decide to market and do a Facebook business page, you can market and get leads much, much cheaper through Command than you can going on and creating your own business page and doing your own ads. Plus, they'll kind of guide you on what to do and how to do it. And you just click whether you're trying to, whether you're trying to find buyers or sellers, or whether you're just trying to advertise the listing. Like, it'll even ask your purpose for the ad and it'll kind of guide you through it. It's rad. It is really cool. You guys will like it. And then the KW app, that's the one that I put at the top of my Instagram, just so that if people actually want to look for ads and stuff, they can go through. And this is one of, oh no, let's see. This just shows like percentage of your database with a phone number. This person has 60-something%. With email, they have 74. Mine I set up so I can't put them in there. Man, stupid thing. I can't even put them in there without an email, or at least that's how it was set in the beginning. So mine has 100% on emails. And I've gone in and I try to work on addresses. You can go in and do neighborhood snaps. It's cool. And on this side, you got your contacts, and then you've got, oh my gosh, this is opportunities, my favorite tab, because you can go into opportunities and see like how many leads do I have, how many appointments have I had, and how many, and this is active people, right? And then it has active, under contract, sold. And so I just drag the tab, put them to active once I have a contract. And then once I get them under contract, I drag them to the under contract, and you can go in and check, and it shows your potential income and your probable income. We don't have all the time for that, but it is really, really cool. And then the app is what I was kind of already showing you. I'll let you guys play with that on your own. All right, so this is one of the ideas that they give, and probably one of the more important things to take away from class is to figure out how to establish your business on social media. How many contacts could you make in a day if you just made calls the entire day for 8 to 10 hours? Any idea?
Like a couple hundred. Maybe like 100.
You'd think, and a contact, let me define it.
50?
Contact is when you call, they answer, and you talk and have a conversation, right? So you're right, actually. 200, I think, would be really high, but we've had in bold, we do a bold 100, and that is 100 contacts in a day. And it is difficult unless you plan, have stuff set up, and then you close your office off, do not disturb, and then you're on the phone all day, right? You can do it. And if people are answering, awesome. If they're not answering, that makes it tricky. You just got to call more and more people. You may call 200 or 300 people and only get the 100. But anyway, it's a ton of people, right? It's a ton of time, and it's super time consuming. If you guys can spend some time on your social media, go in, and what this suggests is like 10 posts a day from friends, write 5 comments a day. And it's not just direct messages. Why would we write comments instead of just direct messages? Wouldn't the personal contact be better? Just to direct message somebody? Why would we write comments on their posts? Yeah, everybody else can see. You not only engage the person, but other people see you. So, and Facebook, like all social media sites, has algorithms, right? You want your algorithms to be high. The more you connect with people, the higher your algorithms are between them, meaning the more they see your posts and the more you pop up on their page. Have you ever noticed on social media, you see the same person's stuff almost every time you pop up? Your algorithms are the highest, and you keep looking at their stuff, so their stuff keeps popping up. Same thing for you. If you're liking at least 10 posts, people will notice that you're liking them. They'll check out your page. If you're commenting, oh, wow, they'll see them and other people. Who is this? Who's Elizabeth? I don't know. That's, is that her friend? And they're looking at your page, and all of a sudden your algorithm, your strength is higher, your relationship between other people for social media. And it says when you post, you guys familiar with the 80-20 rule? 80% of your posts should not be about real estate. They should be about other interests you have, your personal life, and only 1 out of every 5 or so posts should be about real estate. Now, I know people that are successful with both. Becca Summers only posts about real estate. Like, that is it. She is super successful with it. What you don't want to have people feel like is that you're spamming them all the time, right? And especially if you're, I don't know, if they're not super interesting or engaging. Now, if you see something funny in a house, oh my gosh, I was just previewing this house, check this out. And, you know, something funny or something weird, like post that. That's a personal thing and a real estate thing. You may get an extra post or 2 in. But if you're going to advertise what rates are or what the market's doing, maybe make that 1 time out of those 5 posts. It talks about brainstorming about what to put on your personal page. Unique tattoos, things of nature, nice dining experience, cool latte art. I'll let you guys figure out. It should, I think though, it should just kind of be about you, because that's ultimately who people are hiring, right? It should be about you and help describe who you are. Have you guys had some posts that you made that had a lot of engagement?
I haven't really, but like I'm in school for digital marketing. And so like we talk a lot about this and like seeing like results from like strategy on social media.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I haven't done that for me yet.
Cool. Okay. Have you noticed any that were really higher than others?
Like
any personal posts? No, just personal posts.
Oh, when I got engaged, yeah.
Nice. So people care about you, right? It wasn't because you were showing them like the best meal you've ever had or the best. It was like a life-changing event. It was an accomplishment. It's something amazing that you shared with people. And that's a little bit because you're letting them into your personal life, right? So maybe think about what other posts you can do that will have people engage. Some of the real estate posts I've seen, they don't need to just be, here's market stats, right? They can be. UCAR shares them every month. They email them to us. KW shares them every quarter, and they're really cool. And you can show them and explain them. But I've seen Peter Morkel for some of his personal posts, and I've seen another guy that's just walking through the office, can't think of his name right now. One of the posts that he did, so I follow some other agents, and I don't follow because I want to see all their stuff. I want to see what they get tons of engagement on. One of their posts was, there's obviously a difference between Cafe Rio and Costa Vida. Or my wife and I were arguing on which was better, Costa Vida or Cafe Rio. Help me out here. What do you guys think? You know, mine, I said, and he said something, he didn't say which one he liked the best, but he said, obviously there's a clear winner. What's your opinion? And then he did the little box you can do on social media, Cafe Rio or Costa Vida. It had tons of engagement. Peter Morkel in our office, he's so smart. Follow that guy. He had a ton of, he's done a ton of posts too. And his are all really just fun questions that people want to get engaged with. One of my favorite was name the best rock band of all time or something like that. And I thought it was kind of silly. I was like, yeah, whatever, you know, but I saw he got tons of engagements on it. Did you respond? I did not, but, or maybe I did, I don't know. But what I did do is I took that post and I posted it on, I never share another agent's post, right? I just copied and ripped it off and posted exactly what he posted. And I say that in a funny way, like you can always share what other agents share. There's not really a lot of proprietary information unless it's copyrighted or they say don't share, right? Jimmy Rex used to be in our office. He's huge on social media and he'll tell you like he goes through and just all of his stuff comes from other people. So I'm following a couple of agents in Florida. I've yet to like be really consistent in social media, so I'm not the best guy to teach it. But anyway, Peter Morkel's one, I probably had more engagement than I'd ever had. I just posted on my page, just saw it did really well on his, and was like, hey, who do you think the best rock band of all time is? And then I had like, I don't know how many comments. It was tons of them though. So think of just funny, cool, different things and research out what other people are getting a lot of hits on and then use it. And we're going to be done in a minute. 13 minutes. All right, here's your daily success system. The 6 things listed here, you guys can kind of do to build your business. And this is have you break in groups of 3. We've already done that. You be a group, you be a group, you be a group, right? Just kidding. It says have one person choose to describe out the report, allow 5 minutes for discussion and brainstorm. At the end of 5 minutes, report out. Let's see. You guys have your manuals now, so
Yeah.
this will be super helpful. You can make copies of this, or you can make your own spreadsheet on if you've had 10 conversations. And even if you have 5, I'm not telling you to do less than what this says, but I'm telling you, even if you have 5 conversations a day, you'll be doing more than most real estate agents. It's amazing how many real estate agents get in the market and you're like, I got my license. Here I am. I'm just going to wait. Going to wait for that phone to ring, right? It's crazy. You got to go after the business. So a lot of people don't even do the 5 conversations or 10. This gives 10, and I think that's much better. And the point is to get at least 40, 50 conversations a week, right? Think you'll have some business if you're doing that? Yeah. You will. You definitely will. Even if you're brand new, and people know that. When you're brand new, what stats do you have to rely on for how many homes have been you've sold? None, right? Personally, but for the market center, you rely on the market center stats, right? So if you haven't sold a home yet, it doesn't matter. You're at the top brokerage in the state. You can go to people with confidence. And if they ask you like, hey, what's the marketing plan? Oh, it's awesome. Like, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and have some stuff ready together. But rely on your market center stats, know how many homes we've sold. And if they're like, well, how many homes have you guys sold? Well, I can tell you, we did over $1 billion in business last year. We're 2 years in a row now that we've done over $1 billion in Keller Williams. So, and if it's somebody that knows you personally and knows that you haven't sold a home yet, you can still rely and say, hey, look, I know I'm fairly new to this, but guess what? I'm studying like crazy. We have the best training in the country, and I'm at the best brokerage in the state, and I've got a lot of giants that I can kind of lean on to help me out with this. But I promise you, I'm going to work harder than anybody else who work for you. And I'll make sure before we make decisions that they're the right ones and that we're doing all we can to get this thing sold for the most amount of money with the least amount of hassle. So any thoughts on that? So 10 conversations a day. A conversation can be a phone call, which I think is preferred. Most people text these days. I totally get it. And a conversation can be when you text somebody and they text back. That's considered a conversation. But for me personally, if I were new and still in my business, I count them when I do phone calls, because it's trickier sometimes to pick up the phone. If you haven't talked to somebody in a while, like, why are you calling? Your first phone calls might not be, hey, I'm in real estate, right? Not just to say, oh, hey, I'm calling you for me because I'm in real estate. Might just be because I hadn't talked to you for a while. How are things going? Oh, well, man, good. We're doing this and this and this. And they're probably going to ask you what's going on with you. Oh, geez. Yeah, I've been busy doing tons of training and at this new brokerage, and got my real estate license, and it's just been a fun process. And they give you the chance. I don't normally call and just try to tell people about real estate. I call and ask how they're doing and what's going on. And hey, just wanted to check on you. And they almost always, well, how's business? How are things going? Oh man, I'm glad you asked. It's been busy. It's been really good. And I'll just go into it, So I'd make those 10 conversations phone calls to get yourself in the habit of it. You can do some texts. 10 contacts added means you're out actually talking to people. You could do Facebook ads. You could just take people from your phone and get them added to command. This is probably talking about a lot too. They have, if you put them all in a spreadsheet, you can just upload them all at one time. I had like 2,500 contacts uploaded all at one time for mine. It was awesome. Just put them all in there, and then I got to start doing labels and stuff. Handwritten notes, you guys familiar? They talk to you about them all. This is first class, so I imagine not. Handwritten notes are super, super effective, especially if you can, compile them with phone calls and all that. Normally you get a phone call from a handwritten note or a text, and it's just to the handwritten note can be to let people know you're in real estate. It can be, and they'll go with you, they'll go over with you, exact things you can write, but it's just hey, hope you guys are doing well. I was just thinking about you. Go ahead.
I have a question because I am from out of state. I've lived in Utah for 2 years during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
How do I don't know very many people here, grow my network and connect myself to individuals?
It's a really, really good question. I would start by thinking of ways I could be involved in my community. I would think of, and have you ever heard of BNI?
Mm-hmm.
So here in
BNI?
Business Network, BNI, and I don't know what the I stands for. I just know there's a company. Do you know what it stands for?
I did. I know. It's like
I did at one
like
point.
Got like an agent in the lender retirement.
It's like Business Network International or something. It's a nationwide company. Basically, BNI said they just developed parameters for helping people give referrals business to business. And when they establish a new group, real estate agents always the one to go first, right? But you could start looking for BNI groups. You could contact them. You can start a new BNI group, but there's work to it, right? You have to have a meeting every week, and every week.
Oh, I've heard of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Stan Lehrman office has probably 70, 80 people come every, I don't know if it's Tuesday or Wednesday morning. I don't remember what day he does, but at 7:30, they meet down in the large training room, and he has all these people come. And they have a set system for it. You pay like a monthly thing. And part of the reason you pay is because people it's partly to pay BNI corporate, right? Because it's their company, but it also helps people feel more involved and more excited. Like, okay, I've paid like a free class versus a class you paid $1,000 for. Promise you'll pay more attention to $1,000 class. You're like, I've got to get something out of this. I just spent $1,000. So you pay to be there. But then you have people, you can only have one people from any set company, one plumber, one electrician, one real estate agent, one title person. And then basically you get points by referring people. And when you refer people, you get thank yous out loud, and you do a lot of cool stuff. Each person from the group gets to present, one each time, or sometimes they'll do these 30-second presentations. They go over business. It's just this organized group of lots of business owners. So that is where Stan gets a ton of his business from. He does a ton of business. So Carl in our office has an agreement with BYU, Utah, and UVU right now for athletes and stuff. If they want to go purchase, NCAA now allows them to make money. And so I don't know the details of it. I wish I did. I thought it was so cool. But he showed up on the big picture at the BYU football game that my family was at, and was with the quarterback. And, he's like talking about how accurate he was. And he's like, I trust, Carl and so with my investments. And he showed up on the screen. He's a funny guy, and it was just an awesome commercial. And he got some sort of MSA, master service agreement with Utah too. So there are lots of ways to maybe think out of the box, think of going business to business, think of how you can get involved in your community and people will start to know you. Some people create a community page. You could put in whatever you're interested in. If you're at Orem, I'm sure has community pages. Most of them do, but you could create a community page. There are lots of things that you could do to just get out and be involved. It sounds like you were married not that long ago, so I imagine you don't have kids yet. But some people get on the PTA. They'll just get involved. There's what's the other group? There's another group where people get together in cities, and I can't think of the name of it right now. Anyway, I get involved as much as you can.
City council, stuff like that?
Well, you can. Some agents will go to city councils just to learn more about what they're approving. That's a whole nother thing. That's cool too, right? You can go and figure out, where are new roads going in? Oh, guess what? They're talking about this great and big new development over here to the west. Like city council meetings would be good to go to too, but they're pretty time consuming. But you could get to know developers there. You could run by, I know the one agent she had a friend that was in new construction for a big builder, and she'd just go and hang out over there, and people would come in all the time to these builders, and she would end up, kind of chatting while her buddy was talking with them if they didn't love the home or whatever. Sometimes her friend would put it on one if they wanted to buy. Oh, well, I'm here. I can help you on the buy side. She's going to help the builder. and she get business that way. And then if they decided to leave, well, hey, I've got a couple of other options. She just already had some stuff available. And she's like, if you like, we can go look at this sometime. And she was just there as a resource. And so she got some deals that way. And I would ask some other agents in the office. Heather would be a good one to ask. And so would Becca Summers.
Heather knows everyone.
She really does.
The...
I would have her kind of help you and say, hey, how do I start building this? I want to get involved. I want to
10 conversations a day. Heather has like 20. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. No, I believe
She's
it.
like on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And if you can make them, if you can make them just good conversations where people know that you care about them and it's not just to try to get a deal, then those conversations will go a lot further. And you know what? Keller Williams has an incredible referral system inside of the KW network. You can go click on the map anywhere in the country. I just got one from Florida. A guy here that I sold a house to, he does solar and he runs a little team out there. He bought a second home in Florida and they're Airbnb-ing it. And I got like a $4,000 or $5,000 commission from that because they paid me 25% of what the commission was. And all I did was find a good agent. You can read, like, you can see how many deals they've done for KW. You can see how long they've been there. You can see if they work on a team. You can look up all the stats on a certain agent for any given area and be like, okay, I'm picking one of these top agents. And then you call them and say, I've got a referral for you. You can send it through the system and it's done. They work with them, close the deal, and you make money on it. So I'd say for Arkansas, I'd be looking for a couple of referral agents and then stay in touch with all those people. I'm from North Carolina. And so I look for referrals there. My parents are selling their house. I send it over for a referral, right? So you can make money without even selling real estate in Utah because we have such a good referral network. Say for the next 2 hours, we'll work together on a success system. I'm guessing that's a different thing.
That's the end of our
Beautiful.
section.
Yeah, that's all I've got. Let's so if you guys learn some good information here and you don't start doing it or implement it into your life, it's not going to do you any good. It's one of the defining things between agents that actually grow and succeed versus the agents that come and just learn. There's some, and I love the learning portion of it, but there are some agents that just continually take education and think, I just need to know more. I need to know more. Same with investing, right? At some point, you've actually got to start implementing and do, right? So if you guys are able to implement and all the stuff that you learned, then it's going to help you boost your business forward, right? It says allow 5 minutes for you guys to write your journal. We're just not going to do that. Any other thoughts or ahas from today? Any other questions you have or anything you want to share? Okay, well, thanks for coming. Thanks for the good questions and responses. Helps me think. I want to be a better agent. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to go up now and run market statistics for Eagle Mountain. And so when I talk to people, I coach my 12-year-olds football team. When people have questions or say, hey, how's the market? Oh, well, guess what? This is how it's doing, or it depends. So turn on.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much. How long have you been in real estate?
I've been in real estate